Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Harbinger, and I'm here with TISHA, ALYN, KAZEEM, FAMUYIDE, KELSEY Davis, DANIELLE, ROBAY, and AT&T to talk about 5G and the future of content creation. Let's get into it. Danielle, tell us your name, your handle, your primary platform, and what kind of content you make.
What's up, everybody? I'm Danielle ROBAY. My handle is my name, Danielle ROBAY. I am a TV host and content creator. I have a podcast called Pretty Smart, which is a love letter to women with something to say. And I host a national show about TV and film.
My name is KELSEY Davis. I'm the founder and CEO of Collective, we're a portfolio platform that connects creators and brands. I've been a freelance creator producer for around 10 years and then ended up actually building a technology company to help creators like myself bring their creative vision to life. You could find me at Directed by Kels, and yeah.
Hey, my name is KAZEEM FAMUYIDE. You can find me at KAZEEM on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, but on TikTok, you can find me on my full name, at KAZEEM FAMUYIDE. I'm a content creator, podcast and television host, TV host for MSG Networks, podcast host for Spotify and The Ringer, and PointsBet USA. And I also host a podcast called Say Less with Kaz, Loki, and Rosie, which is really just me and my friends messing around, having fun, but we have conversations with interesting people between pop culture, music, sports, and everything in between.
Hey y'all, I'm TISHA ALYN. I'm a golf media personality. You can find me on all platforms at TISHA ALYN. Anything and everything golf, fitness, instruction, trick shots, coverage, you name it, I'm there.
Danielle, what made you want to get into content creation?
I had a little bit of a different path. I went to school in the Midwest for journalism and political science. Then I got hired by this YouTube conglomerate, which was one of those places where people rode around on hoverboards. It was like so fun and also so many creatives in one space. And so we were producing original content, entertainment news pieces, interviews for like 12 to 15 hours a day. We would stay late. We became like best friends. And it was there that I saw how technology was growing. Instagram started becoming a thing. I learned how to use YouTube, how to title, use SEO, all those things. And I used to think that my dream job was working for one of these huge networks. And I realized that I could kind of do everything I was doing and make it a little bit more meaningful, even if I was doing it myself. So I rode both paths simultaneously, and luckily I've been able to continue that.
Great. Kels, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I've always identified as a creator. That originally started as a videographer, filmmaker, producer. And so actually quit basketball, was on my way to D1 school, decided to hang up my sneakers, pick up the camera, ended up getting my bachelor's in film. By my sophomore year, I was traveling across the world, producing content with my favorite artists and brands. And that was an incredible experience. Also ended up taking a job one summer with one of the largest media conglomerates. And that was the time when I realized, I'm gonna go disrupt the agency model. And, I ended up taking a lot of the stuff that I learned as an individual freelance producer, but then also working with brands, and then created Collective, which is a talent marketplace that connects creators and brands. Kind of went from myself being an individual creator to finding joy and kind of being this architect, technologist that is able to help creators create. And so that's really the heartbeat behind what I do. And it's kind of enabled me to pivot throughout my journey, but still with the main heartbeat of investing in creators.
Kaz, what about you?
I would say around college was, it was around 2009, and it was the time that print journalism and online journalism was really sort of starting to mesh together. And at the place that I was working at, they were very much focused on the print side of journalism. And I was just like, great, this is where everything else is going though, you know what I'm saying? So at that time, I didn't just help, get them into the digital age. I helped, this is pre-2010s where there's 20, 30 people working at the social department or working in the digital department. I was the one-man social and digital department for a magazine that had 30 years of experience within the industry, so it was
cool.
It was a
This is our internet guy, right?
Exactly, right? So being able to sort of see all facets of that, it kind of put me in a space where, man, if I can figure this out the way I know I can figure it out, I can't only just create cool content for myself, I can help employ and create content for others as well.
All right, Tisha, what about you?
it really just fell on my lap. It wasn't something that, I mean, I think we can all speak for it. Like, it's not something that, like, I'm studying to be a content creator, you know? It's like we all either, like, got into broadcasting or being an entrepreneur, what have you. And so my path was broadcasting alongside being a professional athlete. And I thought, you know, worst case scenario, I'm going to fall back into broadcasting. Best case scenario, I'll be a professional golfer. And then as I started documenting my journey when Instagram became a thing, firstly, my first post was like a picture of a dog in a tutu. I legit did not know.
That's a pretty good first post.
I was like, oh, that's good. I guess like 2 likes. And I didn't think anything of it. And then soon I just started gaining a following. I started winning a few events. I started showcasing I can juggle the golf ball and do some tricks, and that kind of started to pop off. And then soon thereafter, when it hit 2018, I came to a crossroad where it was like, wow, do I still want to be a professional or do I want to create? And I started waking up thinking, I have way more passion creating. I love making golf entertaining and women's sports entertaining. And so that's when I put the bag down and officially started creating. But I've been doing it since 2016. But 2018, I was like, this is it. Like, let's get it. I think this is meant to stay.
You're constantly producing content. You're constantly consuming content. What role does 5G have in helping you keep the pace?
I love that you use the word pace because I think that is what makes 5G so helpful, is it accelerates absolutely everything. I also think that it has totally democratized the way that we put out content, because before you needed, have you seen those big production when you have like a live show, you have those big trucks and all the wires and all the cords?
Yeah.
5G makes it so you don't really need all that. You can do a lot on your own.
Sorry, everybody in this room.
Oh, shit.
You guys are cool. You guys are
great.
That's funny. Yeah, but you can really do a lot on your own. And so I can write, produce, put out the content, edit it, all those things much faster, much easier, and with way less of a barrier to entry.
Great. Kelsey, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, when you're working with creators, creativity, content all day, you know, what you need is speed, right? You need the ability to create, to collaborate. It's one thing also you have, you know, your own thing going on your own device, but being able to collaborate together, right? Having multiple work streams going on, being able to have video calls, right? Being able to have multiple softwares running, being able to export, download, upload, and being able to do that on the go, right? It's all about speed and scale, right? And so 5G definitely helps when it comes to scaling and accelerating, as Danielle said, connectivity. And so for creators, that's everything.
I actually don't even think that we've seen all that 5G can do yet. I think this year we're really going to see the 5G ecosystem explode.
Yeah, I think 5G, just as everyone has said, it just makes things faster. So like the coverage that I do, it's very different than like, I guess, broadcast. Like I basically do it out of the comfort of my phone, holding it in a selfie position, and I say, you know, what's up, y'all? I'm here at a golf tournament, you know, whatever it is. And whenever, especially when you're in really dense areas, right? It's so important. Like me and my team literally will film it, I pass it, we turn and burn the content, we're cutting it up, we're turning it, and the worst thing is when you can't upload. But because you have 5G, you're able to, and I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all, who can't? I'm on it. Like, I'm getting things in real time because, especially when I'm in season, I'm doing a new event, completely different. Like, one day I could be doing a trick shot show, and the next day I could be in front of, like, TV being a golf analyst. Completely different outfit, different environment, everything. And so for me, I have to deliver my content in real time. It's just like if I'm reporting, you know, the scores in a golf game. Like, they don't care about what happened yesterday. They need to know it the moment after the shot happened. And so I'm always delivering content immediately, and 5G makes that happen faster.
The liveness aspect is so crucial.
KAZEEM, how do you use AT&T 5G tech to keep up with sports viewing?
A great thing that I got to take part of this past summer. I went to July. I went to the AT&T Innovation Exchange in Las Vegas during the NBA Summer League, and they rolled out just so many incredible innovations in technology that is going to improve just the way people are watching sports, you know? I think one thing that we've really been on top of as far as like sports coverage is being able to be on top of these numbers. And with the augmented reality that you could see through your phone while watching the game, I'm not gonna lie, it was a trip, right? Like it was like I was watching like a real life video game, like a real life, you know, you could see when the shots were going up and like it was like color coordinated, and you can see when a player would get a rebound, it would pop up like on the screen. And of course you can go to another website while the game is on and like find stats, but it wasn't as intuitive as this was. And just like seeing just how easy it was to use, I was like, wow, this is going to be the wave. So I would say when it comes to creating content and viewing content as well, the more information that you get along with the technology is going to completely change the way we sort of absorb sports viewing.
The AR game view makes it super interactive.
Yeah.
So as somebody who's just a fan and likes to watch, it makes me feel like I'm on the court, even though I didn't pay for that seat. Like it makes it way more interactive and fun, I think, to watch.
It's super fun. Like you're watching it, and you could be in the arena. So I was in the arena. Like I was maybe on like the second ball, just like watching from the top. And I'll never forget it. It was a summer league game. I think somebody hit a shot, and you could see his stats like pop up over his head like as soon as he walked in. I was like, yo, this is insane.
Wow, that's cool.
And it's almost like if you watch like a television a telecast of a basketball game, you'd have to wait until like a commercial break or wait until the end of the half to like get those sort of numbers where you're getting it in real time. And if you're a content creator and like as soon as something hits and you can get to the timeline and be like, yo, such and such rebounds hit the over, boom. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between following this person and following somebody else who may not be on top of it like that.
Oh, yeah. Danielle, what are some challenges that you have that people might find surprising to learn?
I think people look at content creators, and it's my fault too, because I only put the good stuff out, right?
Well,
like
yeah.
I'm not crying.
The highlight
You
reel.
don't say.
All the time. And the tears are there, know. But I think when you create your own content, you're both the CEO and the janitor.
Yeah.
And so as much as we've been talking about how you can do it all, it's really hard to do it all.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my biggest pain point. But it's also a blessing. So, it's hard to say.
I would say audience. The audience changes a lot,
Like building a following, or
not just building the following, but like the stuff that some people like 2 months ago ain't gonna be the same stuff that people like
I hear that.
now. You know what I mean? And in addition to like all the things we've spoken about in this conversation, which is like the practical stuff, the content creating, the actual like using your hands and feet to get things done, like just being on top of stuff, like just being creatively on top of stuff, just being topically on top of stuff, you need that sort of advantage as well. And a lot of times, there's certain points where I'm just not like, you mentioned it so clearly, where you're the CEO and the janitor, and just because you can do everything doesn't mean it's not very, very hard to do everything, So there's definitely times where not only am I just worrying about putting the content out, but sometimes I'm like, damn, am I putting the right content out? Like, are people really like gravitating towards this? Like, do I need to switch something up? Do I need to go younger? Do I need to go older? Like you're also your own, what's the word I'm looking for? Your own,
Like critic?
Not critic, but I guess like a market survey or market research, right? Like you got to do your own sort of like real, you have to see what your audience is doing, your audience behaviors as well.
Yeah.
And it changes so fast, especially in hip hop music, especially in sports. Like there's so many things where how people consume content, what people like from their content, how they want to consume it, all that stuff changes so quickly. And being on top of that is literally the difference between your brand staying relevant and just being left behind. And, there's certain characteristics and behaviors I still hold on to. But if you're not staying on top of what's new and now, then, you get left behind.
But I think I really relate to what you both were saying, especially you, Danielle. Like, I think it's such a gift to be able to be your own producer, your own cutter. You put it out yourself, but it's also very taxing on you because in your own mind, you're like, gosh, I really am my own script writer. I really am my own actor. I really am my own everything. I'm the talent. My body is breaking. And people don't see that behind. They don't see, like, sometimes I'll spend 6 to 7 hours on a 15-second video because I'm like, that meticulous. I'm like that. No, I'm like, no, that's not good enough. And even when I'm like, you know what, I need more sources. I need more help. And I'm like, but they don't do it like I do it, because we are our own creators. We are our own entertainment. Like when I go to your page, I'm watching your channel. So you only know it best. So you want to do it all yourself. And I think that's a challenge that every creator has, is that you want it your way and no one else sees like what really, really goes on behind the scenes. And the moment that one piece is done, I'm already thinking about what's my next piece. Yeah. What's the next trend? Oh snap, that song is trending. I gotta use this. Oh snap, that's happening in the golf world. How do I bring that in? There's always something happening. And so I think that, alongside trying to figure out how to stay in the present, I think that's always a topic of conversation with me and other creators. Is like, how are you? But how are you? But how are you? How are you? How's your soul? Yeah. Are you living in the present? Are you living like
am I alive? Am I alive?
Right?
And to the naked eye, like, you know, we talked about, we don't post all of our L's, we don't post all the bad stuff, but like to the naked eye, it's like, oh, videos looks great. I've never seen a put her whack video out in my life. You know what I mean? Like, it all looks dope. But like, to her, she's like spending 6 hours on a 15-second video, and people don't see just how much, like, we're all leaving a piece of ourselves out to the internet for people to openly judge, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And a lot of times, like, that can really mess with you, you know, because sometimes, you know, you really gotta have that sort of self-belief in yourself and what you're doing and the path that you're taking, that you're not necessarily gonna feel broken if something doesn't go the way you want it to go, you know? And sometimes it's very easy, like it's easy for us to say it in front of a camera and in a nice, like, well-lit house and all that type of stuff. But like those moments where you're by yourself and you're really questioning like the sort of path that you're on, like, people don't see that. And that's sometimes the hardest part. It's like the battle that you have with yourself, because the content that you put out is a little bit of part of your personality. It's a little bit of part of who you are and how you want people to perceive you.
Kelsey, what are some struggles you face as a content creator?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, for me, I'm always trying to create more space and time, right? As a creator, as a human, you know, I really think that's what we're trying to do. My biggest path is really, how do we create pathways for creators to be able to create, and really for humans to ultimately be able to like free themselves and to liberate themselves. For me, especially as a Black female, queer female growing up in Georgia, I haven't really had too many reference points, right, around what it really looks like for a creator who looks like me, who identifies the way that I identify, who believes what I believe, really being able to create the life that they want at scale, and being able to broadcast that, right, and to be able to build community around that has really been something that people like me have had to do in secrecy and in silos, right? And so for me, it's really been about how can I really take my understanding of who I am, the gifts that I have, and really try to create more space and time so that I myself can create and feel the fullness in that as an individual, but then also open up gaps so that people can do that for themselves. And so I think the more that I'm able to create space and time for other creators, that's really when I think as a generation, we could see ourselves really moving forward and really liberating ourselves towards creating the life that we want. But in order to do that, it's gonna take more, I really do believe, for a lot of communities to be able to have more space and time. Because I think when certain people are still fighting for the first 2 degrees of Maslow's hierarchy of needs of like physical safety, psychological safety, they can't be thinking about creative expression and self-actualization. And so I think the more that we're able to give people so that they have the resources, the means to be, I think then we can allow people to create. And I think anything that, you know, helps challenges around space and time could really do that.
Tell me a little bit about AT&T digital divide.
It's super important to make sure that everyone all across the country, everywhere, has access, right? Independent of where you're born, what zip code you live in, what state you live in. You know, access to connectivity, right, is a right. And so it's really important how AT&T is making sure that they can bridge the digital divide so that everyone has access. And I think when we're thinking about creators, right, and the ability to create, that's so important. I think, you know, we all have these God-given abilities to create and be creative and be problem solvers, but if we don't actually have the technology, the access, the affordability to do that function, then can we really do what we were sent here to do, right? And so I think it's really important that the digital divide is creating access for everyone. It's allowing creators to create at scale. It's allowing creators to, you know, have faster download speeds, upload speeds, to be able to create and collaborate with each other, to be able to do that also on the go, which is super, super important. And so, you know, we have to continue to really invest into the digital divide and make sure that everyone everywhere has access access, affordability, to be able to adopt and to be able to participate in the future, right? Because, you know, the more that people don't have access, the higher they will exponentially get left behind.
Danielle, what innovations would you like to see in the content creation space?
I think that there's a lot of rote things in content creation that could be automated really easily. Everything is so siloed. Like you go here for your website and here for your editing and here for your producing. It could all be aggregated. So I would love to see that. And I would love to see a way to like really better connect with your audience in real life. Like to use technology to move them from the internet to a space. I haven't zoned in on what that is yet, but yeah, I'd like to connect more fully. I think Gloria Steinem says that you can't have empathy without all 5 senses. And so although the internet is awesome, you need that real life touch, feel, smell interaction.
Kaz, what do you think?
I would say I don't have a specific, you know, wish, but like I would hope that technology advances to the point that it levels the playing field with creatives, and we all just sort of like rage against the algorithm, right? Like, I feel like everything has been so algorithm based, and you know, I think which is great sometimes. Like I think especially for like TikTok, you know, the great thing about that is like everybody can go viral at least once on TikTok, right? But I hope that like technology advances to the pace that there's no need to sort of go viral. You can go viral within your own community and sort of like build that up. You know what I'm saying?
With the new advancements in 5G tech, where do you see content creation in 5 years?
Wow, that's an incredible question. I would say when it comes to 5G, content creation in the next 5 years is going to be it's going to be a mixture of in real life and virtual life, right? Like augmented reality, the metaverse, all the artificial intelligence, like all that stuff of being able to blend in of what's happening like right now and what can happen in the digital world is going to be, I wish I knew, like, you know, if I knew exactly where it was going to go, I'd probably be a very, very rich man. But in addition to that, it's been, I think in the next 5 years, I think content creators are going to be, there's going to be artificial intelligent content creators. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're going to give so much, like we've given so much information to, you know, this space, especially the way the metaverse is being built out, that I think it's going to really, democratize content as well. You know, I think people that create for a living are going to have easier ways of getting stuff out. And I think people that do it for fun are going to find ways that are easier to monetize because of it. I think the way that it all kind of shakes out sort of remains to be seen. But I do believe that, you know, with the advancement in technology, like we've seen in the past, you know, whether it is the VCR back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to burn CDs or stuff like that. Like there's always been some sort of innovation that sort of shot forward like creativity to certain people, you know? I'm severely aging myself, so bear with me real quick. When folks were selling mixtapes in barbershops, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Hey, I'm from Atlanta. We still do that.
Exactly.
That's
Still do
today.
that. You know, like the way that just like leapt forward creativity, you know, like who knows how many artists we'd never even hear if they couldn't just press up their own CD and get it out there. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way, I think that's going to really affect the way content creators, especially move in the sports space, because not everybody can get on the big network and be in front of like the multi-billion-dollar company and, you know, say, welcome to blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, not everybody wants to see that too, you know? So there's gonna be people who grow up with just metaverse content and just AI content and want to just do that. Yeah. So, you know, the 5 years question is an incredible question because that could happen in 1 year and then we won't know what it's gonna look like in the next 4, you know? So, but I think that the democratizing of content creation is at the forefront of where we're going next.
Yeah, I agree. I think AT&T 5G just in general will just continue to make things faster and create more connectivity and provide more opportunity in that way. Like by being able to have that connectivity in places that are more rural or maybe less populated and giving those spaces that equal opportunity to reach an audience is going to be huge. We're going to be finding new talent that we've never seen and connecting in just a very different way.
There's a book called Outliers that Malcolm Gladwell wrote. It's a great book. And in it, he talks about I think it's the first chapter. He says, how many LeBrons are we missing
Yeah.
from our
Absolutely.
world because we just haven't cultivated them at an early age? And I think with 5G, it is going to truly bridge the divide that Kelsey's talking about. And we are going to see so many more. There's going to be a lot of competition. There's going to be so many more greats.
That's good though.
Yes,
Good. That's what this
totally.
country was built on.
May the best person win. Like, I
Yeah.
think we're going to have an explosion of creativity, of content creators. One of the great things about creating content is there's really a place for everybody. There's you know, infinite amount of space and money to support content creators. So I think we're going to see an explosion of greats, an explosion of creativity. And I think the tech behind it is going to allow for a real high quality content creator also. A few years ago, there was a movie shot on a phone, and we'd never seen that before, like a featured film. I can't even imagine what people are going to come up with in the next 5 years with the use of 5G.
Yeah.
There's 8 billion people in the world, and I promise you, you don't need all 8 billion of them to see your content to
Right.
be successful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, as long as you get it to enough people and get it to, you know, I think a lot of the conversation was built on like community and being able to democratize and being able to get sort of technology to people who may not have readily access for it. When I was growing up, there wasn't a whole lot of folks with long Nigerian names on TV, like doing sports and stuff like that, and looking like how I look and talking how I talk. And I think initially that's always been my goal, right? Like, I think in 5 years, whatever it is that technology helps me do, I want to be able to make that for the next KAZEEM FAMUYIDE, who feels like I don't have anybody out there that I can look at and being like, okay, like I could follow this sort of path. And I think secondly, a lot of the one thing that we've all sort of talked about is just being able to, you know, replicate the human experience as much as we possibly can. And I think if we all had a magic wand, we'd probably be able to clone ourselves or make more of ourselves. And we can't, but I think with the way technology is going, we can get pretty close, you know, and being able to have people feel you in Ghana, in Argentina, in Australia, and not just through hearing you and watching you, like being able to actually feel you, you know, whether that becomes in advancements in AR or advancements in artificial intelligence or whatever that is. I want to be able to make sure that my content gives you the same sort of in real life experience everywhere. You know, and on top of that, I want to be able to give that to the next generation of folks. You know, like I can't do this my whole life. You know what I'm saying? But I want to do it long enough to where, you know, the folks that come in that want to follow that career path have somebody that they can either have as a mentor or look towards and be like, okay, I can follow this sort of path and be successful and enjoy life and enjoy this career that I made.
So as a final sign-off, do you have any advice for up-and-coming creators who want to do what you do?
Yeah, I think my best advice would be to find, well, we'll call it the 3 C's. I'm just coming up with this on the spot. So find your creative passion, collaborate. You have to collaborate. Like, at the moment that you go into a competition mindset, I think you're gonna fall real fast.
Yeah.
Like, when you come into a set, make friends. When you're like meeting you all, like making friends, knowing that I have you all in my pocket to reach out to if I want to connect to your world. Collaborate and be very consistent. This is not an overnight thing. I mean, being in social media, I think we can all attest to this.
Yeah.
I went through, 2 years of just actively sharing almost every single day because I purely love golf that much and women's sport. And I didn't see a dime. And I think that's one thing that the generation coming in is hoping to see. Like, I want to be a creator. I want to get this. I want to get X amount of followers. I want to make this much money. And I'm like, you have to love this so much that when you come home from your 9 to 5, you're going to stay up all night because you love doing this. And on the days that are hard, you're still choosing this. Find that creative passion, get that consistency going, and collaborate.
3 C's, that was so good.
Yeah, you came up with that almost.
I love that.
Alan, thanks so much, everyone. Great conversation. And thank you for joining us with AT&T on the Create and Connect podcast.